We'll go next to a fantastic neutral site rivalry game there in Jacksonville, Florida. It's the Florida Gators against the 5th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia's about a 7.5-point favorite. This game is 3:30 Eastern time on ABC. This is an obvious, massive game for both sides. For Georgia, they want to keep things alive for the 12-team playoff. But for Florida, this is their Super Bowl. They just fired Billy Napier. They're coming off the bye week. Their primary key here is to kind of make this season worthwhile, make it mean something. And while things didn't go well for Billy Napier, he was fired after the 3-4 start, finished as 22-23 overall. Is one of the worst by any Florida coach in the last 65 years. It was especially bad against ranked opponents where he was just 5-17. And the offense at times was maybe a little bit predictable. They had some penalties. They had some mismanagement. So in steps Billy Gonzalez, who's been named the interim head coach. And this is his first game in this role, his first ever game as a head coach. And it just so happens to come against the program's biggest rival and a team that's ranked in the top 5. Now, Georgia's head coach, Kirby Smart, he's 7-2 overall against Florida. So he's no longer preparing for the offense that was called by Billy Napier. He's preparing for a desperate team with nothing to lose, led by an interim coach with zero incentive for conservative play calling. So knowing that this is the biggest game of the year for Florida, I think you might see some real alterations to what they are from an offensive identity standpoint. So what will Georgia prepare for? Will they prepare for Napier's offense, or will they be preparing for an offense that's maybe a little bit more high-flying? We'll see. Question number 1, can Florida establish the run? Now, Florida's offense, their entire world revolves around the run game and, frankly, the performance of their offensive line. Now, internally, if you talk to people within that staff, they feel like the line is an elite unit or had the chance to become an elite unit. It hasn't lived up to that expectation this year. It's been a little bit inconsistent. And this might be the ultimate proving ground for this offensive line because they're going against a defensive line that is really good against the run. You got some great, dynamic, big-bodied defenders. Maybe they lack a little twitch that they've had in the past, but they're excellent against the run. So right now, Florida rushes for about 128 yards a game. That's 15th in the SEC, so second to last. And that production is going right into Georgia's best attribute defensively. They stop the run. They allow just 91 yards rushing a game. Now, the very tricky part about this is that if the offensive line can't create gaps or holes for Jaden Baugh or Jacoby Jackson, then the offense could become one-dimensional, and that one dimension is DJ Lagway, and he's been a little inconsistent this way throughout this season as well. Question number 2, will Florida's defense sell out against the run? Now, Georgia's rushing offense, that's their bread and butter this year, kind of back to their roots a bit, and they're averaging over 190 a game. Now, Florida's rushing defense is solid. They give up about 120. But this is a bit of a running back by committee approach with Nate Frazier, Chauncey Bowens, and a few others. But you also have Gunnar Stockton that can factor into this as well. And he does a really good job of weaponizing his legs. He's opportunistic, especially in the red zone. He's got 7 rushing touchdowns. That leads the team. He also has gone for about 280 on 58 attempts. So if Florida does sell out against the run, then that leads us to the next question. Question number 3. Can Georgia's underrated passing attack continue to play at a high level? Now, Gunnar Stockton's been great. Now, far from perfect at times, but he has absolutely been as dangerous as anybody with his back against the wall. And I think if you look at it, he's been hyper efficient. He leads the SEC in completion percentage. He's got a 10-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. And I look at this offense, man, while he doesn't have the arm talent of a Matt Stafford, he's a really effective passer. And I don't think enough people pay attention to that. He's great on the short and intermediate throws. He can hit in breakers. He can hit out breakers. He can beat you down the field. Ball placement's been very solid, and it allows a lot of yards after catch. And if you look at kind of where things are with this passing attack, I think it's a group that could get better as the season goes along, but they'll have to do so without Colby Young, who's out for the foreseeable future after injuring his leg in the first quarter against Ole Miss. Now, that's a critical blow because Young was kind of the primary X-receiver, a guy that could stretch the field, that could win some one-on-one matchups, and his absence will kind of force a little bit of a redistribution. The good news is you still have Noah Thomas, who was brought over in the offseason. He's a big body receiver on the outside as well. And you still have a super dynamic weapon in Zachariah Branch, who has been the top target and will continue to be the top target. And in Colby Young's absence, you saw veteran Dylan Bell step up. He went for 57 yards, and he now will play a very important role in this game as well. You'll also see the tight ends with Oscar Delp and Lawson Lucky, who of course had 3 touchdowns in the win against Ole Miss. They could see a dramatic increase in targets as well. So I think it's a deep group, and I think it'll be a really tough group to defend as they continue to move forward. Question 4, can DJ Lagway play smart and aggressive football? Now, he's one of the more volatile players in the country, but he's probably the most important player in this game. He is the source of the team's explosiveness. If you look at where he's been this year, if he can hit some balls down the field, they become a huge problem. But if he can't hit some balls down the field, that's where things start to go a little bit sideways. So if you look at this explosiveness, also you got to take into account the occasional interception. Through 7 games this year, he's got 9 touchdowns, he's got 9 picks. That 1-to-1 touchdown interception ratio is not ideal. That 9 interception rate is one of the highest marks in the country. So his interception rate in the SEC is a staggering 5%. And he's a big reason why Florida's turnover margin sits at -3. I'll take Georgia in this game, but I'm going to take the points. I actually think Florida's offense will make some plays. I think they'll take the governor off. And even though I think Georgia's really good against the run, I do think there are a couple vulnerabilities in the back end that I think DJ Lagway and this wide receiver core can have some success against. I also don't know if this pass rush is going to have a huge impact on DJ Lagway's decision-making. So I think Georgia wins. I think Florida covers. And what I think has a chance to become a kind of a high-scoring affair for a game of this magnitude.